Silent.
You're welcome to the live station of Television Nigerian, reaching you from our hilltop station, Igozape, Abuja. It is election day in Nigeria, a day Nigeria finally goes to the polls to decide who will wear the cap or who will sit on the #1 seat in the most populous country in Black Africa. On this panel, we are going to be giving you situation reports, updates from various polls across the country as the election unfolds. And on the panel with me today to give you the updates as it unfolds in Nigeria Decides 2019, I have with me here Emmanuel Idoko. You're welcome. All right, and also have Mr. Bernard at. Yes, it is on at last. 2019 general elections is real. It was supposed to happen last week Saturday, but INEC gave their own reasons for postponing the elections. And finally, the 23rd of February is here, and it is live and it is real. Voting has started in several polling units across Nigeria, as our reporters have reported. From the fields, we've gotten feeds that the President of Nigeria was at his own polling unit in Daura sometime around 8, some minutes after 8, and he has also performed his own civic responsibility as a Nigerian, despite the fact that he is one of the leading candidates vying for the post of president of Nigeria. Gentlemen, finally, Nigeria goes to the polls to decide who is going to be taking us the next 4 years. It's your pick.
Well, it's really, the history has been made already. It's really commendable. INEC must be commended for this election. I think INEC finally has justified the reason for that postponement, because we've seen reports of voting. From reports of voting from the field, we discovered that voting commenced at certain places on time. The president had to vote a few minutes after it, and he expressed satisfaction. I think as it were, kudos should be given to the Independent National Electoral Commission. But one thing is very, very instructive here. This election is very, very sensitive. It's one election that a lot has been put in place. Nigerians are the expectations is high rather. The build up to this election, the context is a very tight one. And I would not want anything that would jeopardize anything that's happening. The reports we're getting from some ugly reports we're getting from certain places like the riverine areas, unconfirmed reports though, are rather worrying. But the turnout of voters so far has been quite well. And yesterday, the INEC chairman told us in the INEC situation at the Regional Conference Center that the commission was prepared to conduct this election. And I think so far so good. They have lived up to the expectation of Nigeria.
Yes, Professor Mahmoud did say that INEC is ready. Despite some misgivings being expressed here and there, perhaps maybe elections might be postponed. There might be staggered elections in some states of the federation. But as it is, elections are going on well. How does it portray the electoral umpire? Finally.
At this point, the INEC has really lived up to their expectations, because they have postponed the election last weekend to this weekend, which is February 23rd. At this point, I think kudos should be given to them, because people are out. Reports we've been getting at Sokoro, people are out voting. We say almost all the polling units around the AMAC within us here, people are out en masse voting, and there's no reports of violence so far. So security situation is also good. As Mr. Emmanuel here said, although reports reaching us from the area unconfirmed, though, is quite worrying. But here in the FCT, the election is going smoothly and perfectly. No sign of violence anywhere.
Exactly.
Yes.
Earlier in the day,
Kudos to the INEC.
yes, earlier in the day we did notice heavy presence of security men from between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. There was no movement. People are expected before now to have registered the polling is just walking distance from where they stay, because INEC made sure that they made provisions for people, the units, to be quite close to people where they are. But then on my way coming to a lot of people were on the street, a lot of cars were on the street, people wanting to go wherever they wanted to go. I mean, does it, how does that portray people abiding by laid down laws and procedures about, okay, for between so time and so time, stay at home, go to the polling units, exercise your franchise, and then go back and wait until when they declare that the elections are over. People can continue their work. It's heavy. It had to take a lot of security men on the streets to calm the regular movement this morning.
Well, in that light, I belong to the school of thought. I don't share the view of people that security cannot be enough. I mean, when the president made a particular statement that those that snatch ballot boxes will be dealt with decisively with the law, I strictly concur. And I'm of the view that yes, we need a big presence of security because the country is insecure. Just this morning we had ugly incident reports of already 7 bombs already gone up already.
Within
10 minutes.
I mean, it could have had spilling effects. If not because on my way here, I think I met about 5 different military checkpoints, and it's okay. Now the issue about people moving to one place, if you remember this. The registration for these elections were done as far back as 2011. Now people have migrated from one place to the other. Now one thing is very, very instructive here. INEC has not said people should not move on election day. Alright? They only restricted the movement of people. So if you can prove to the security agencies that yes, my movement I'm going to cast my vote. And of course, if you are really interested in this election and you're a patriot as if you claim to be, I think you should be at your polling unit beforehand. I mean, what does it take? 1 day out of the, I mean, all the life, I mean, 4 years, I mean, what does it take? I was in the vehicle with somebody, I was coming from somewhere to come and vote in AY, and I was shocked. I asked him, where are you going to? He said he's going to cast his vote. As early as 6 o'clock was a lady, and I was impressed. So people should not be, security presence should not deter people from moving.
Yes,
and then the security operatives must also understand, it's as if it's not a curfew, right? The election is not a curfew. They didn't say people shouldn't move, but movement is to be restricted because when people are moving around from all places, you don't know when anything wrong might go.
But it's also quite instructive, like you said. But then the presence of military men, heavily armed military and all that, it gives a sense of maybe we are not in a war situation, we are in an emergency situation, having a lot of security cordons and all that, it might strike fear. And there's been some concern about the militarization of our electoral processes.
Yes, the security men are not there to scare people. That's the misconception there. The security men are there to protect lives and property during the election period. I know there are a lot of security presence, especially in the FCT, and I personally think that is what the election needs. Because before now, prior to this election, we have had a lot of incidents of ballot box snatching, especially due to low areas of low security concentration. So I personally think that the presence of security men is not to scare the citizens, but
to give them a sense of security.
A sense of security.
Exactly.
Yes.
That you can easily go to the
and your life is protected.
Now, one might really ask, isn't the police sufficient to handle it? Because INEC has already said they are working with the police because the police are the ones that are supposed to monitor the civil society. But the issue here is that our case right now is peculiar. We're not at war, but we're losing lives every day. Now,
we are in extraordinary time.
Extraordinary time.
So many
that requires extraordinary measures.
We just update the incident in Zamfara. People may just come up from the bush. And I'm not dealing with how do I call it? In PG language, criminals.
Exactly.
You're dealing with
sophisticated
women that move around with assault rifles and all that.
Sophisticated
Yes.
rifles.
So somehow, and then the military has to come in. If you know, it has been established over time that we don't have enough police. The police in Nigeria are not enough. The police authority have cried out more than once.
We need more hands.
We need more hands on deck. Now the army has not come to do the work of the police. They have come to complement the police. And don't you forget, the army has launched Operation Crocodile Dance across the whole entire country prior to this election, and it's still on. It's all geared towards security. Nigerians should understand the times we're in. It's not about militarizing the society, all right? It's about the protection of lives and property. The same Nigerians are the ones that will cry foul if anything goes wrong. Like the president, who is the commander-in-chief, is supposed to be the one to protect them.
Yes.
Did not protect them.
So
I think the issue of security, I mean, it's welcome. When I even saw them, I feel more secure.
Exactly.
And I begin to think that if I'm in Abuja, I was walking around the road. I left my house very early in the morning because I wanted to get here on time. And then seeing the military men on the road, I felt secure. I was like, oh wow, everywhere is fine. I know that. I think everybody should maintain that.
But then, will we ever get to that point? Just like in Ghana or some other countries, where election day is just like any other day. You just maybe it might be on a working day. You leave your office, you go and vote. The schools are on. Teachers go and vote. Once you're eligible, you vote and go back to your normal business. Why shutting down the whole country for just?
Yes. For us Nigerians, our situation may be quite different, and the process may be more tedious for us, because once you put into consideration some detailed facts, putting into consideration that Nigeria, for one, is the most populous black nation on earth. So, you know, the process may be quite tedious for us, because we are not like Ghana. Ghana is not as populated as Nigeria. You know, human beings are one of the most difficult beings to control. So, I guess our situation is quite different from that of Ghana. And with time, why not? We would get there, as this election is appearing to be more peaceful than
the previous elections. Yes, we must give kudos to INEC this time for a job well done, which is still in process and ongoing. Still talking on INEC. Well, let's give you some clips of the briefing that happened yesterday at the International Conference Center, where the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, assured Nigerians, assured international observers, both local, of the preparedness of INEC, which culminated to what actually we are experiencing today. We'll come back to the studio after this clip.
With security during Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections, the IG gave this assurance on day 5 of the 5-day press briefing organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, at the INEC Situation Room, International Conference Center, Abuja. The IG said his men have been fully mobilized across all polling units in the country.
The security of the electorate, the observers, the INEC staff, the electoral materials are all secured. Maximum security is provided before the election, during the election, and after the election. In the polling booths or polling units, there will be security. At least 3 security personnel will be there to protect the electorate, protect the INEC officials, and also to protect the electoral materials.
Chairman of the electoral body, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, also used the forum, which is the last in the series of briefings held by the Commission before the elections, to give a breakdown of the Commission's preparedness for the polls.
Elections will hold in 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Voting will take place in 176,973 locations, made up of 119,973 polling units and 57,023 voting points. We have engaged 805 125,543 ad hoc staff, ranging from presiding officers to collation and returning officers. We have mobilized 80,000 commercial vehicles and about 996 boats for the deployment of personnel and materials. And the materials include 707,892 ballot boxes and voting cubicles. And we are mobilizing these to various locations by land and sea. We have accredited 120 domestic and 36 international organizations, deploying a cumulative number of 73,000 observers. We have concluded the movement of personnel and materials to the 774 local government areas and the 8,809 registration area centers nationwide. All arrangements are now in place to facilitate the opening of polls at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
While urging Nigerians that the Commission is ready to conduct a free and fair election, the INEC chairman reiterated the need for Nigerians and all stakeholders in the electoral process to join hands with the Commission to ensure a successful transition. Present at the event were local and foreign observers, members of the diplomatic corps, and the media. Doko Emmanuel, TVN News.
Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, chairman of the INEC Independent Electoral Commission, confirmed that the Presidential and National Assembly elections will proceed on Saturday, being today, as rescheduled. Meanwhile, there have been fear.
Time for action. No more talk. We know how. Leaders, we don't tire. This situation, we don't need to.
Them say the way you lay your bed, now so you go lie on top. When you sell your votes, not poverty, you lay in bright, so make you shine your eye.
Make you not sell your vote, no shishi for bright. If you talk, we say, and I talk, we say. No shishi for bright. If you talk, and I talk, and we all the talk. No shishi for bride, no shishi for bride, no shishi for bride.
Yeah, welcome back. TVN elections update. Now, we saw in that clip the Inspector General of Police assuring Nigerians of safety during the entire process of the electioneering in Nigeria. And then we also had the Independent National Electoral Commission's chairman assuring also that they are ready. And as we can see, for what has been happening so far, they have been carrying out their duties without hitches. Now, let's look at elections properly. Now, Nigerians are exercising their franchise. People are already at the polling units and all of that. But it is instructive that before now, a lot of Nigerians, some have complained that they were not able to get their permanent voter card. They registered in different places. There were a lot of issues. Some people that we spoke with yesterday, that they have been trying over time to get their voter card before the expiry date that was given, and still they were not able to get their voter's card. So what does how instructive is in this whole process that there's some Nigerians who are above the age of 18 who have registered and who are willing to perform their civic responsibility, but because of one issue or the other, they have not been able to do that.
Well, if you notice, this issue must always come up, right? The human being is not a total perfect person, right? But INEC has come to tell us that over almost 8 million PVCs were actually collected, and that is the highest we've had in a very long time. And I think some of the bottlenecks we witnessed as a result of the voters' card, Nigerians can be very, very impatient. This is a civic responsibility. Now, some people will tell you that I spoke with somebody, a friend of mine was telling me that imagine he went to collect his PVC and they should write his number, and when he wrote, he failed in the way that he waited frustrated and came back and he couldn't come back. Like he got frustrated and he left it like that. And that's the story of a lot of people.
Yes.
Go frustrated at the point that you left it like that. And then we're talking about your future here. I'm not holding forth for INEC though, because of course there would have been incidences where, right, some of the staffs, maybe like catastrophic people, staffs, and people not doing what they're supposed to do might have generated. But mind you, so some of the people that didn't collect their PVCs might be, people had to transfer their PVCs from places to another.
There were a lot of issues.
INEC were overwhelmed. Even recently it was agreed at the point that INEC should be bonded.
Yes.
INEC is not responsible for registering the political parties, responsible for alienating the country to constituencies, responsible for conducting elections, responsible
educating
voters and all that. And I think that they are overwhelmed. And then, in fact, so far, if they have distributed over 70 million PVCs, at least it's quite commendable. Those that couldn't vote, well, I think there's always another time. And I think Nigerians should be more dogged, more ready. One thing, the issue we have in this country is that we're not passionate about our country. Nigerians have this attitude of, like, okay, if they're not paying me, why should I go and collect my PVC? Not knowing that what you stand to achieve by voting the candidate of a choice is more than any amount of money anybody can give you. We're talking about building a future for yourself and your generations to come.
Putting into consideration that prior to this time, there have been voter education exercises on how to get your PVCs. The truth of the matter is that most Nigerians complain about the government, but most people don't get involved in the government. Most people don't care about their PVCs. I've been chatting with some of my former colleagues where I used to work recently, and I asked them, are you going to vote? Their response was, I don't even have a voter's card. I asked them.
It's just like I don't even have a voter's card.
Yes.
It's just
don't
like that.
Care.
An adult Nigerian.
An adult. They don't
and this same person,
care.
you don't have a driver's license, you go
and queue
sure
for
he gets
it.
Because there's no penalty.
And he will have
just like you said, Nigerians have a lackadaisical attitude toward things of the country. The Nigerians are no longer patriotic, because as a patriotic citizen, it is your civic responsibility to vote.
Okay, but maybe what about them? I think an issue of concern is this having to create a window for all of these things to happen. Okay, between now they say, okay, registration opens and closes at so and so time. Why not make it a continuous process? I mean, you can, once you turn 18, people turn 18 every day. Every other day people turn 18. Can't it be an ongoing process that people get updated every time, and then you can go and pick it up at your convenience before any elections? You understand? Instead of putting a window of opportunity, people now have to, okay, there's still time. Before you know it, they are out of time, and then we are choking, and then we are asking for extensions and all of that.
You must understand that the building of INEC is a work in progress. INEC, Nigeria is a very peculiar country. Now, even the INEC chairman asks why is it that people cannot use their PVCs to vote at different locations? Because we're talking about this biometric.
Exactly.
It's a global world. Now, why can't if I register in Abuja, why can't I vote?
Anywhere ever.
And then he answered the question by saying, yes, those are things INEC are putting into consideration. And I think INEC are also putting this into consideration. It's a work in progress. We're not going to get it all at once. Right? I think that, and this INEC under Mahmoud really has done really well. And I think if we continue this progression, if we even check the voting pattern, initially before it was the way voting is being done today, it's better than the way it was done before, where people would just come and queue, accredit, and go back to their homes and come back later and vote. So it's clumsy. Now we're seeing a more fluid process. And I think as time goes on, even that registration process will be made more open. Where I think INEC should put this also in the offing. They should put this at the back of your mind that at the point, PVCs should not be things that we set days aside to get. It should be a normal, a recurring thing, all right? And that's why INEC really needs to be on board with this. Something needs to be done about that agency to make it more efficient so that it will serve the Nigerian people better.
All right, Nigerians, elections 2019 is real and it is ongoing. If you are age 18 and above and you have registered and collected your voter card, and you are at home right now doing God knows what, you are not doing yourself any good. Make your way to the next nearest available polling units closer to where you are and exercise your franchise. But not just exercising your franchise. There are rules and regulations and there are procedures of voting. INEC, prior to now, in their voter education series, have already given some guidelines, some codes to observe, some color codes. You have, when you get to the polling unit, you have red for the presidential ballot box, then you have, for the Senate, you have black, then for the House of Representatives, you have green. You understand? So these education processes have been on for now. And we'll take this break and we'll bring you up to speed in case you have not seen it or in case you do not know and you are planning to go out to exercise your franchise. These are the proceedings for you to follow.
Approach Assistant Presiding Officer 1 for your PVC to be read by the card reader and matched with your thumbprint. Step 3. Approach Assistant Presiding Officer 2 to confirm that your name and voter identification number are as contained in the Register of Voters. Step 4. Allow the Assistant Presiding Officer 2 to apply indelible ink to the cuticle of the appropriate finger, then receive the voter accreditation tag, and then leave the polling unit to give space for other voters to be accredited, but return to the polling unit at 1 p.m. to be briefed on how to vote. Step 5. At 1:30 p.m. or when the presiding officer announces commencement of voting, join the queue in an orderly manner. Step 6. When invited, approach the Assistant Presiding Officer 2 to have your right thumb or fingernail marked with indelible ink and collect your ballot papers for voting. Step 7. Proceed to the voting cubicle to thumbprint your ballot in secret. Be careful not to allow the ink to stain other parts of the ballot papers. Step 8. With your ballot papers folded vertically, approach the Assistant Presiding Officer 1 to guide you so as to drop the ballot papers into the appropriate ballot boxes. Red box for presidential or governorship, black box for Senate, and green box for House of Representatives. Step 9. Leave the immediate voting area to give way for other voters to cast their votes. Step 10. You may, however, stay within the polling station to witness the sorting and counting of votes as well as the announcement of results. Vote credible candidates of your choice. Your vote counts. This voter awareness has been brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Welcome back. This is still TVN Elections Watch. And you just saw some guidelines of what and how to go about the electoral processes. Talking about voting when you get to the polls nearest to you. Now, from the reports we've seen from the correspondents who are in the field, the processes have started early. Yes. There have not really so far been any complaints about late arrivals as far as the areas we've monitored are concerned. We've not had the issues of materials, all of that, not being on ground before the stipulated time of 8 a.m. for elections to take place. And people have really been conducting themselves, going, and the whole election has been going smoothly. What does this say about Nigerian electorate right now? We talked about INEC, then the voters conducting themselves, going as early as possible, being orderly, following instructions, like what we just saw in that voter education piece along that. So that Nigerian electorate have really upgraded from what we used to have in the time past.
Yes, you know, this election, in this particular election, people are really people have been agitating to vote their candidate, the candidates of their choice. People have really turned out in mass to vote the candidates of their choice. We've had reports that some local governments in Port Harcourt, River State, election materials have not been supplied to some local governments in River State and some other states. But here in the FCT, everything is moving very smooth and normal. We've not had such reports here. So election in the FCT is going very, very smooth, except for the riverine areas.
Well, they actually large turnout of voters where,
yes.
compared to other elections. Like you said, Nigerians are very interested in this election. But you can't, a vice presidential candidate of the PDP after casting his vote expressed some disappointment with some of the procedures and the elections. And then the reports we got from somewhere in Alausa in Ikeja that at 8:15 this morning, election material, if I know electoral materials, electoral officials, INEC officials have not even arrived at a particular polling unit. And it also happened somewhere again at Junior Ekpe, whatever, Papa Ekpe at 8:45. That's where Command Body is supposed to cast at 8:45. Also, no electoral materials also. And I think these things are scattered at different locations
polling units
in the country. Now, how do you assess an election? We don't say there will not be hitches.
Yeah,
definitely will be hitches.
It's a human process.
It's a human process. And then materials might arrive. I even saw a report where at a particular polling where INEC officials and NYC member ad hoc actually dragging materials. All right, and these things will happen. But overall, the reports we're getting so far, I mean, voting started at, at as when there's a 20, some places were 30 minutes late, 15 minutes late, 10 minutes late, and even more. But the most important thing is that voting has commenced, and Nigerians are very interested. Now, the most peculiar thing about this election is Nigerians are very, very interested in who governs them.
Yes.
Now, would you attribute that to voter education or more awareness to Nigerians, or would you say it's a fallout of the prevailing socioeconomic situation that Nigerians are desiring for a change or something? What would you attribute this sudden upsurge in getting interested in who governs Nigerians?
You always expect people to grow, right? They say a child does not stay in the ground for a long time. Right? You have to grow. And Nigerians have come to a level where the awareness has become, the political awareness. So people have now become more conscious. Nigerians have begun to understand that government is what will determine their future. You know, prior to now, we're coming from a military era, where the military heads way, they do what they like. So people at the point, people got detached from policy making and the polity entirely, because nobody consults you and all that. And then in the early stages of our democracy, we saw a situation whereby people imposed candidates on other people. Elections were rigged massively and all that. But after the 2015 elections, the Nigerians chose their leader. No, 2015 election, Nigerians actually voted for President Muhammad. It was an eye-opener. That's why they were, so we can really do this. And that's why people are tripping out. And then the prevailing socio-economic situation in the country now calls for a lot, right? Because Nigerians are beginning to understand that they need a president that can really solve their problems. That's why some are coming to defend the incumbent, knowing full well, believing that he's the one
he can do better,
or believing that he has done very well. And some are trying to vote in some other candidates because they feel they'll come and do better. And Nigerians have become aware of the fact, the importance of the participating in the electoral process, and it's a plus. You can only get better.
Yeah. Now, would you? How much of technology is at play here? Because you see that every day the world is a global village, and then everybody's connected. You can hear what is happening in Indonesia, you can hear what is happening in Iraq, you can whatever, and then we see their electoral processes. And people are, most importantly, like you did point out, Nigerians are beginning to realize that yes, the power actually belongs to the people, not to the president or not to any government. The real government is the people. You understand? Because it's people that decide this is what we want, this is how we want to do it. If you don't do it the way we want, we'll go to the polls and we'll vote you out. So how much of technology did you see? How much did technology help in this advancement of all this knowledge and this reawakening, so to speak, in Nigerians?
Yes, in the light of technology, I would say INEC has really played the role of disseminating information concerning voters' education, and the social media has played a very big role in educating Nigerians about their votes. Every day when you go to the social media, you see different posts concerning voting. And you know, a lot of politicians are also using the social media to campaign. And there are a lot of users on the social media. So people who don't watch TV now get the information on social media. Social media is now stronger than before. Like in the 2015 election, we had social media, but not as strong as this. Yes. So social media has played a very big role in disseminating information, especially in this 2019 election. And we also owe it to INEC. INEC has also played a big role in educating voters nationwide. Every day we see adverts on TV, on the print media, in social media. You see different adverts.
Yeah, the Nigerians cannot but just get involved in the process.
It seems the information is sort of in your face.
Exactly.
So everybody gets to, even people who seemingly don't have their voter's card, they can tell you a bit about voting.
All right. Nigerians now are aware that the greatest office in the land is not, surprisingly, not the office of the president, but the office of the citizen. It's the citizen that decides, and that is you and me. Now, let's go to the fields, where our correspondent, Sandra Joanna, is standing by to bring us updates from one of the polling units where she witnessed the electoral processes going on there right now.
Chairman of the INEC Independent Electoral Commission, confirmed that the presidential and National Assembly elections will proceed on Saturday, being today, as rescheduled. Meanwhile, there have been fears that the logistical issues that prompted the postponement may not have been resolved by now. Right now, I'm standing at a polling unit at Asokoro beside the new Capital School, where the elections preparation are going on. And as you can see, INEC and their officials are ready to conduct their elections. Let's go on and find out from them how ready they are to exercise their civic duties.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Benedicta Okoduga.
So why are you here?
Well, I'm here as a representative of my party, as an agent.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think the elections outcome are going to be like?
Well, so far so good. It's actually, people are prepared and the enthusiasm is okay.
Judging by what happened last week, that the elections were postponed, what do you think, when you were coming here, did you have any fears like that something like that was going to pop up again?
No, not actually, but it's just that there were a lot of speculations, but it happens and we had to, stick by what we expected.
My expectation is for my candidate to win and for him to get the vote above his opponent. And I feel so excited to come and meet a crowd. And so I appreciate if other polling votes should come out in mass and come out in this such way, at least we will make what we want. Whoever voting for. For the peace, and we should work, whosoever let peace reign, and all of us should move ahead.
I'm Richard Nite. My expectation is for the best candidate to win. That is my expectation. No, I actually had the fear of that, so I got up from bed around 6 o'clock in the morning. So I said I'm determined to vote and I must come and vote. I must express my civic right to vote, yeah.
My expectation is nothing but to vote and express a very conducive environment.
According to INEC chairman, a total of 72,775,502 citizens who have collected their permanent voters' cards are eligible to cast their ballots.
Welcome back. You are still on TVN Elections Watch. And we have just seen a situation report from one of the polling stations in Abuja, where our correspondent Sandra Grana monitored electoral processes. And from the report, and from what we could see, people talking about the enthusiasm, the turnout of people, Nigerians really are interested in the process, and they are really participating, which is a kudos to a lot of issues. INEC's preparedness, the education, and everything, and also the awareness of Nigerians. At the end of the day, everyone is hopeful that the process and the outcome will be one that will be favorable to every Nigerian. Now, let's look at the process. We just saw an orderliness, we saw people queuing, we saw the observers. I think she spoke to one of the party observers, a representative from a political party, everybody expressing satisfaction with the process so far. What would you attribute that uniqueness of this 2019 general election, the uniqueness of the features we are just seeing right now playing out?
Yes, considering, I mean, comparing this election with past elections, some of the unique features of the election, one, I said it before, that accreditation and voting at the point,
at the
same time,
simultaneously,
and that for me is quite very commendable, because it makes it more, more easy. And then, funny enough, it even makes the issue of vote buying difficult, because you know, normally during elections, when people go and do accreditation, and then they go back home, or they go back somewhere else, these lobbyists, all right, they come around and then they begin to lobby people and all that. Now this time you don't have that time to even go back and think, all right. At that point, you just come to the polling unit to get a voter's card, you go and vote a person of interest, and you go home. Another unique feature of this thing is that the number of candidates we have, overwhelming numbers, 163,000. So that's why INEC even took their time to make sure they exhaust all avenues of telling the voters how this election should be voted, should go on. How, and that's why they also say, instead of using that big trumpet, all right, your tongue, use the one, because in order to, it's still for your own good. And a lot of people are saying, crying for, you know, Nigerians always find a way around.
For read meaning everything.
Exactly. It's a process that INEC has started one process and they want to read the election, but that's not the case. INEC said, because if once the ink leaves that space and touches any other part of the vote, that vote becomes invalid. And they say it's safer for you to use this term, which will make your job, which will make it easier. And then the president of folding, we saw the president, he did it wrongly actually, but he couldn't wait. When he came to the line, he just folded it as good, and then we couldn't wait for the INEC officials to educate him on how it is folded. We're told that by the time you get your PVC and you printed, you fold it into flat sheets, makes it very slim, and then so that you can put in the ballot, so the ballot will not become too full. And then the way the boxes were color-coded,
so that you exactly know where to
vote. Yes. Right, because I saw the one INEC official saying it this morning on one of the TV stations that so he was asked, the question was put to him that what if I'm supposed to put a particular vote in another presidential box and I put it in the House of Rep, what happened? He said that vote remains completely invalid. So Nigerians would have before now. But I have a problem with agencies like the National Registration Agency and the Ministry of Information and other relevant bodies also. Now, period of this election, they have not really helped INEC in propagating these things. In terms of mobilization, grassroots, because now where we have the bulk of the problem is in the rural areas where people are not educated and all that, where people don't know what to do. And then the work of the NOA is supposed to be going down to those grassroots and then making grassroots. In the past, we see during the election, we see National Registration Agency come out with adverts on radios, on TV,
in different languages,
and all that. But we didn't see that at this time, and then they left the whole job to INEC. I think people they must do more, and every other civil society organization that is involved in voter education must do more to ensure that these processes are more. People get to understand how these things are done.
Now, before now, there has been so much emphasis on ballot box snatching, vote buying, and all of that issues. In fact, the last most controversial one was the order of the president to the military to, you understand? Yes. A lot of people read so various meanings into that order given by the president, and should the army obey or should they not obey? And in the midst of all that, I'm wondering, who wants to snatch ballot box? Who would want to? What would you snatch a ballot box for? INEC has already severally said, if you snatch that ballot, it doesn't count. It will not amount to anything because of the processes that have been outlined, the what they call it, the card reader system and every other thing. So why should one go to snatch a ballot box and risk his life in the process?
People who snatch ballot boxes have already pre-planned agendas. Well, you and I may not know, but they have their ways. They have their ways of making votes countless or invalid.
Okay, so it's not for them to snatch to influence votes. To inflate votes. I don't get it. Why would one want to snatch ballot box?
They snatch it to influence votes, either to deflate or to inflate. Yeah. Like for instance, take for instance Party A and Party B. Party B snatches Party A's ballot box, and that's invalid vote. That vote no longer counts.
Okay, maybe if party a particular party is having
areas where you know that
a strong goal
has
a strong goal.
The ballot box and then make sure you disrupt the process.
Yes. Okay, and then it's not.
You make that.
And it's all about a game of numbers. The highest bidder takes it.
The highest bidder takes it.
But I think the issue of ballot box has been addressed by the president. That's 10 warning given by the president. I think anybody is rightful thinking would not go to snatch ballot box. Now we have the report coming from Rivers State that one Taiwo Tabotubo was shot by Nigerian army. Now I know it was tweeted by the official PDP Twitter handle. I know by now people will start alluding to that.
Spreading
okay, now look at the president. Look that because of that the order you gave, somebody has been shot. Now the report we got from the official PDP handle actually proved that the man was not in position of snatching the ballot box. But I don't think any.
But was he shot?
He was shot. Yeah, there's a video. There's a picture of him trending already on Twitter. Now the issue is that why would an army raise a gun to shoot a man ordinarily? Now that man must have been involved in one form of electoral malpractice or the other. Now we have not gotten the full story yet because it's the PDP that is tweeting and the man is a PDP person. So we've not got the full, unless we get the full report from the army, we cannot tell.
That calls to question and some concerns raised by that order given to the president. Shoot somebody. If you shoot the person and it's dead, assuming this person died in the process, you're not going to get to the who sent you, who asked you to do what in the process. So shooting was that
the president did not say shoot ballot box.
Okay, deal
ruthlessly.
No,
funny enough, I saw on social media yesterday when from the PDP members handle actually when he asked a question that at what point should ballot box snatchers be shot? So what do you think about that question? Why should he be asking such a question? Is he planning to snatch the ballot box? Do you know those are questions you put into consideration?
Saying really ruthlessly,
yes,
it's just like
doesn't mean shooting.
It's a way of cautioning people. You know, sometimes
even
as parents, parents can caution their child. If you do this, I'm going to chop off your head. It doesn't mean he's going to actually do it. If you steal meat from the pot, I'll kill you. It's just like he's scared, making people understand that this crime is not going to be tolerated. Exactly. Although the president, you must understand with him, coming from a military background, and I know that it's very difficult to change a soldier.
And of course, something that he's passionate about.
And if you know the man, President Muhammadu Buhari, he's been the man, he's a no-nonsense person. Exactly. You know him when he ruled Nigeria in the past. Who are getting discipline, you have to be up and doing and nothing more. And we still see it at play even at old age. So I don't see anybody that is going to the post to steal ballot boxes now. I think that person has disrespected the state, because if the president makes a statement and makes a stern warning like that, I think everybody, unless you are not respectful,
such person puts his or her life in danger.
Yes.
You know, owing to the government has an agenda of a corrupt-free government. Yes. So I think we can hold the transparency of the election to his agenda also.
It's actually a challenge to that. Okay, this is a government that have been talking about anti-corruption. Do it right and all of that, and then a process that is actually under his watch, so it can be recorded. I think that explains
a lot.
What even scares me more in this election is the issue of vote buying. You see, vote buying might not have been totally erased from our polity, Now, vote buying comes in different ways. People don't think it's not always at the point when you go to the polling unit. Now, INEC has people should not go to the polling booth, to the voting booth with their phones and all that.
It's a very good move.
But yeah, but phone buying goes beyond that. Now, we have to see even in the campaigns. All right, why we should have to move from this campaign of handouts? Why do Nigerians? Why do politicians in Nigeria always campaign with handouts? You go with onions. You go with I saw some bags of popcorn.
It has now become a culture in this country.
Has popcorn. And then distribute it. That's another aspect of vote buying. These are the things we should be checking over time. We should move away from this incident where a politician comes to you and then he must bring something to you. And then it's not also the fault of the politicians. The electorate have to be educated.
Yes.
You must understand that they don't need anything from anybody to vote for that person.
No, but doesn't it reflect, isn't it a reflection of the prevalent socio-economic situation in the country, where people, okay, now it has become, okay, this is the time I can see them, and this is only what you see is what you get. If I don't get it now, the next 4 years you will never see them, they will never come back.
I'd like to put this Bible verse for you. Should we now continue seeing because grace are back? Okay. Now, all right. Now, in as much as we are poor, now how do we solve it now? Okay, that is going to be a recurring thing now. It's going to be a whole cycle. We must look for a common breakaway.
As you rightly say, you know, it's no longer on the parts of the politicians. The politicians will always play well so as to get advantage and get more votes. It now lies on educating the electorate, educating the citizens to know that the power is actually in their own hands, not in the hands of politicians. Exactly. So I strongly believe that it lies on the part of educating the electorate. Once we all know that the power is in our hands, we will no longer gather ourselves to go and meet any politician to sell our future our votes.
And peg it on poverty. Now, you know, when you peg it on poverty, because of poverty, you collect something, you vote for him, he comes to the office, instead of working for you, he eats all the money for 4 years to recover what he has given you, and the next one he comes again, and he gives you more. So, when are we going to get it right? So, it's high time we break this. Poverty is relative. Right? Poverty is relative. People don't understand that poverty is really a thing of the mind. Exactly. If you put your mind to it, I mean, there's nobody that God does not provide one thing or the other for. This is our quest for always wanting to get more. We know Nigeria for real is in turbulent times when it comes to the economy, but we must not use that as a yardstick to sell our future.
Yes, but all these concerns, because prior to now it has been out there in the polity. Over time, the Nigerian election didn't start today. And vote buying, I think it became more pronounced in 2015 or some years before 2015 in some of those staggered elections that had to be conducted before the 2015 or after the 2015 general elections. And then Nigerians, like you said, poverty is a thing of the mind. And then the electorate, the politicians are cashing in on it. Every time there's an electoral process, okay, gather these people and give them this and then buy their votes, buy their consciences and all of that, and then disappear for the next 4 years and then you reappear again. Why don't Nigerians begin to look critically, especially our National Assembly? We are going to be electing a new crop of assemblymen and women who will make laws for Nigeria. Why don't we start looking at another reform, electoral reforms? We had reforms, I don't know how much of this is captured. What and what should not be done during elections? Inducing votes, inducing the electorate with votes, with gifts, and all of that.
Money.
The amount of money that comes at play. I think there is a regulation of the amount of money that a political party is supposed to spend during an election. But who checkmates all of this?
But that's the least INEC can do. The amount you can spend. Now, lobbying.
But we've never seen any prosecution.
Lobbying is a part of the electoral process. And no matter how you want to lobby your people, I mean, as far as it's not against the law. Now, giving handouts is not against the law. It's also part of lobbying. It's part of their fundamental human right. But where we can only get it right is when the electorate becomes more educated. Now, the issue we have in Nigeria is that education has been swept to the background.
No, but then, not that I'm cutting you, but then how much education can you give to someone that's hungry?
Yes.
Right now, I'm thinking about,
believe
this
what
so
you
much
see is what you
infrastructure.
get.
Exactly.
Yes.
How much education is he going to Is he in the right frame of mind to listen to you? I think that explains more of why this government had to come up with school feeding programs and all of that, so that at least they let them have something in their stomach. Because if they are hungry, they are not going to come. And even if they come, they are not going to pay interest in attention to whatever the teacher is saying. And the politician, I believe, is cashing in on this, trying to say, okay, these people are poor, these people are hungry, let me just go and give them this rice. And you see actually women dancing and happy that they got a mudu of rice.
Yes. But that's
some balls of tomatoes and onions.
That's why we must let them understand that the reason why you are poor today is because you collected yesterday.
Your actions are inactions.
You spent your future.
You spent your future yesterday. So by the time we do sensitize people, and funny enough, I like the Nigerian spirit. Nigerians have a way of picking up very fast. Right? Even if you go to rural areas, I was in one rural community recently, and I saw people. They had this small political meeting, and they were all gingering. They were all ready to vote. People were even saying, "Not be today. They are not going to take our votes again," and all that. And I've seen a lot of skits on social media. There's one that caught my attention where a particular politician was calling a dog, "Come and help him vote." The man said, "No, I only go because the last time I went to work for you, one of my men were killed, so we need a replacement." The man said, "Okay, who would you want?" Say, "I wonder your son that just came back from the US," and that ended it. So I think people are beginning to be more educated. It's a working process. It's a working progress. I think we'll get there.
All right, Nigerians, the elections are on. Trying to look for who the cap will fit this time to sit at the exalted position of the #1 citizen of Nigeria, and also the several seats in the National Assembly. Do you have a candidate in mind? Are you still at home right now? Do you have your PVC? Please do find your way to the nearest polling unit closer to you. But please, again, Nigerians, if you do not have anything or any reason for whatever to be near or to be at any polling unit, please do yourself that favor. Sit in your house. Do everything you can to ensure that this process that has been started by the Independent National Electoral Commission using taxpayers' money, nothing and absolutely nothing disrupts the process. Nigeria must get it right this time. The election must be free and fair, and it depends not on INEC, not on the president, not on the security forces, not on anybody, but you, how you conduct yourself. If you sit at home, your vote is not going to count. And if you disrupt the process, the whole process is destroyed. And the next 4 years, Nigeria will be in uncertain hands. Nigeria today, Nigeria decides. TVN elections update. We will be taking a break, and when we come back, we will be looking at issues, critical issues, that will really shape the outcome of these elections. 2019 general elections, which kick-started this day, the 23rd of February 2019. We'll take a break, and we'll be
look here, face me like Facebook. I go silly sound, I go sing a chameleon. Time don't come for us to wake up. My people, it's not time for action. Yeah. No more talk. We know how. Yeah, leaders, we don't tire. This situation, we don't need you.
Them say, the way you lay your bed, now so you go lie on top. When you sell your votes, not poverty, you get invited to make you shine your eye.
Make you not sell your vote, no shishi for bride. If you talk, we say, and I talk, we say. No shishi for bride. If you talk and I talk, and we all the talk, we say. No shishi for bride. No shishi for bride. No shishi for bride. If you sell your vote, sell opportunity, sell your tomorrow.
You say good roads, good health, and education. They say the way you lay your bed, that's so you
sell your future purchase.
Them go surely take them back with profit, now you go suffer.
Suffer, Naija. Monkey go the walk, bamboo go the shop. Shana so we go there.
Make you not sell your photo.
No shishi for bride.
If I do my part and you do your part too.
No shishi for bride.
Make we play our part and we build this land.
No shishi for bride.
You say
no shishi for bride.
You say
no shishi for bride.
Corruption kill us, bribery finish us. Last, Chuku still got us. Who won't change Nigeria but us? Let's make it work again, everybody rise again. Tire for the talk, nobody want do the work. Nobody want die there, I speak with no fear. Change out for them, you can't buy my soul. No shishi for your votes, this not the new oath. How much is your vote really worth? How much they want to give you for the pain? If we choose wrong, then wait till we gain. My brother, waiting we
I don't go sell your future to some, criminals who don't get the conscience. Don't be say we go just do the fun vex and still allow nonsense for another 4 years. Cause my people still dead jobless. Every day my people still they die in hundreds. So make we shine our eye, cause not be only 2 bad choices where they the contest. Give me one more verse, please. I'm talking to you precisely. You did school office or they do NYC with your PVC, you can vote wisely. Even when the offer they bring in is so spicy.
No shishi for bride.
If you talk we say, and I talk we say.
No shishi for bride.
Make we play our part and we build this land.
No shishi for bride.
No
shishi for bride.
No
shishi for bride.
Nigeria go better.
No shishi for bride.
If I do my part and you do your part too.
No shishi for bride.
You talk and you talk, we all the talk we say.
No shishi for bride.
You say
no shishi for bride.
You say
no shishi for bride.
Don't say your vote. Don't say your vote.
Everyone is talking about politics in Nigeria these days, for obvious reasons, of course, and it would not be totally out of place if we also tilt towards discussing issues making waves in the Nigerian political scene. The program is still Issues of the Moment, but today it will take a different turn as you'll be joining just me, no guest, talking to you about current issues. But not to worry, we'll also get to hear various opinions from Nigerians on the issues I'll be discussing. Stay with us. The program is still Issues of the Moment, and today here's what caught our attention. Governor El-Rufai, during an interview, sent strong warning to foreign nations against interfering in Nigerian politics. He says if they do, they will go back in body bags. Now, if you didn't know what a body bag meant, it is a bag used for carrying a corpse from a battlefield or the scene of an accident or crime. Well, quite a weighty one there, you would say, but that's not for me to judge. So let's go into the streets to find out the reactions of Nigerians to the statement.
El-Rufai is not even supposed to be a leader in Nigeria in the first place. He's just being privileged to be there. And by virtue of his attitude, it does not portray, it doesn't give any image as a nationalist. Number one, calling for violence during our election is anarchy. That is the first thing. He's calling for anarchy. If El-Rufai in 2012 said, if we kill a Fulani man, definitely you will pay for it. Time shall come that you pay for it. That's not how a leader talks. That's not how a leader talks. He is supposed to be ambassador of peace.
Actually, we are very, very shocked when I heard about the story. I had it on AIT. But what I have to say is that El-Rufai is an elder statesman. He shouldn't have made such comment. Because 2015, it is same international intervention that actually helped him. Because I could remember then, he was calling on international intervention to really fight for corruption, for him to fight for him to for fair and free elections. And 2015, thank God for the international intervention, he won. Now APC is a government. Then I'm so surprised that the same man that actually benefited from international intervention is now fighting them. For making such comment, body bag means a lot of things. Body bags means, I think based on information I had, it means about death, cops. Then why are you threatening them? You invited them to come to observe our elections, and you're threatening them because they want to observe your elections. That means there's a plan you have about these elections. That at least El-Rufai should retrieve or retract that statement, unless he's speaking on behalf of the government. But I don't think he's speaking for APC, he's speaking for himself.
To me, that is not, I don't know, they are not practicing democracy if something like that is actually being said by him, though I didn't hear it until now. If actually he said that, I don't think we're in the right path for a national leader to say something like that. That's to say this election is not going to be free and fair. But I trust God. All I want is free and fair. Let God allow the person that will be there to be there.
Steering clear is insisting that they would not be interfering with the activities of the INEC, the activities of the electorate. That is steering clear. They are here already. Steering clear, they are welcome. Not that they, don't misinterpret it, don't interpret it upside down. You didn't say they should steer clear of Nigeria, but they should steer clear of interfering in internal affairs of this country. That's exactly what he's saying.
Trust Nigerians when it comes to sensitive talks like this. They're ever ready to reel out their strong points. Moving on, just like people betting when it comes to sporting polls, we have reasons to believe that some Nigerians might be in the game of predicting who they think will wear the next presidential crown. As far as the 2019 presidential race is concerned, Issues of the Moment crew also took to the streets of Abuja to find out what the predictions of Nigerians are on the possible outcome of the presidential elections.
My expectation is not, we are staying peacefully already, nothing will happen. Go and vote yourself. You go and vote for party of your choice. The president told some Nigerians a few weeks ago to go and vote to the candidate of your choice. That is it.
Who do you think will win the election?
I don't know, but the election is as good as over. If I say this, I say that. You consider my opinion as political. Let the best win.
I pray and I believe I should be optimistic. I believe that it should be free and fair elections. I'm not predicting any evil. But I pray, I also want to call Nigerians that please, every one of us, we should actually make sure this election is peaceful for our own interests, for our own children.
So who do you think should win?
Based on permutations, anywhere, both of them are really doing very well. APC and PDP are really almost close mark. I think I'm seeing PDP clicking little because of the structural agenda. I think I'm a youth, I support the restructuring of this country. And any government that actually observes that as a part of policy will try to have the support of Nigerians.
Actually, if you look at it, the incumbent government, they have been on the edge. They have, if you look at the campaign, how they are pulling crowd, but we are not depending on that. It is only God we are looking up to. I'm believing God, we need a change, actually. Because we didn't, what we expected in this current regime is not what we actually anticipated. But I strongly believe God that God will give us a better leader.
Okay, I suppose it's up to you to decide who your winning candidate will be, but that can only come true if you go out and exercise your franchise on that day. Make sure you vote, and wisely too. Join us again next time on Issues of the Moment. I'm your host, Eunice Johnson. Have a great time.
During a presidential debate, the presidential candidate of PDP, Atiku Abubakar, made a statement that looters should be granted amnesty if they return back their loot, while the national chairman of APC, Adams Oshomole, says join APC and your sins will be forgiven. We're on the street of Abuja to find out the views of the masses. Stay with us.
The former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, about what he said about the debates of looters, I think he's on the right step, because that is not strange to our law. If you go to our criminal laws, there's a place where you looters can be able to bring back the money and they will be accepted back, which is called plea bargain, where you come, you bargain with the government, and you are asked to return the money and you're asked to go free. So what he's proposing is not strange to the law. It is in our laws here in Nigeria.
Atiku is being more realistic. Even in law, plea bargain is allowed. Okay? And it has been happening. It is not the first time. Atiku is a politician. At times, you do certain things in order not to hit up the polity. Okay? These politicians, a good number of them have a lot of followers. When you start pushing them up and down unnecessarily, you are causing you are hitting up the polity. But when you go into plea bargain with them, which is still recognized in law, they will return the money and then there will be peace all over the country. Then talking of that of APC, come over to APC and your sins will be forgiven. That is exactly what has been happening. That is why people are not happy with the so-called fight against corruption by this present administration. Honestly, they are not fighting corruption. They will think they can pull wool over the eye of Nigerians. It is not possible.
I think Atiku is very right if he said so, because APC said to us that they are fighting corruption. But corruption is not fight in one-sided. I don't know if you are getting me. You cannot be fighting corruption when your kitchen cabinet are so corrupt and you said you know nothing about them. Our president, if our president can say he's not aware of some things that is happening, then I don't know why he's fighting corruption. Then Atiku said that he want to fight corruption and grant them amnesty. I think he's very right. There is a section of the law that said plead bargain. When you plead, you bargain, you give them amnesty. I think go and sin no more.
If you grant someone amnesty, there are conditions the person have to be given and be guided before amnesty is given. You can't just give amnesty. If it is done like that, that means people will continue to be committing because they know that one day they'll be given amnesty.
The idea of allowing monies coming back to Nigeria, I think that would be the best thing. Because what is the point in having the money? Start in other people's country, developing other people now. Whereas back home here, people are hungry and there are no jobs. Is it not better, you bring those monies back home and establish industries and create more jobs and create prosperity for the people?
To my own view, what I understood by what he said, a repentant looter who said, "Sir, forgive me of my sins." By saying that, he have already refunded what have looted already. Then, by the Holy Book, said, "Go, but sin no more."
For me, it's a good idea. I think I support that if, based on condition, if at all, the looted funds return to the government, or does return to Atiku for, if the Atiku government, if at all, because I'm not sure if they are going to be utilized or used for the benefit of Nigerians. But if the looted funds, when they are bring back to the government, they are going to be used for the benefit of Nigeria, I think I supported that.
You have felt the pulse of the people. The general consensus here is that Nigerians are interested in any decision that will take us to the next level. That's the much we have for you today. I'm Zuwaira Hamza, TVN News.
My expectation from the next president is that he should not be sectional. He should try as much as possible to create an enabling environment for everyone who is a Nigerian to feel like a Nigerian. A president of a nation is a president of all, not a president of a region or a religion. So my expectation is that he should consider in restructuring the country so that every part of the country and the system will work.
The next government that is coming should really go into mechanized agriculture, not this type that you give somebody loan of how much to go and, they should mechanize this agricultural sector in such a way that we'll have large volume of food coming out of that place.
The next elected president, what I expected to do to start with is to restructure this country, to give this power to the state so that the state can be powerful, so that every state can be viable, to reduce the migration from the state to the federal, and to give autonomy to local government so that the local people can be developed. That is what I expect of them.
They will provide money in circulation, empower Nigerian youth, transform Nigeria out of insecurity and fatal corruption, and uphold the rule of law.
It should make sure that actually majority of our infrastructure revert back to back. It should make sure that agricultural have the buoyant backup so that we can be producing the cloth that we are looking for in abroad here. We are doing it here in Nigeria before.
Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission has described vote buying as an act of corruption, which the Commission is committed to tackling. He stated this during a recent press conference. Our correspondent Susan Tiza was in the streets of Abuja to sample the opinions of Nigerians.
The issue of vote buying and selling has been the theme of the day as the election draws nearer. We went to the streets of Abuja to sample the opinions of Nigeria whether or will not sell their votes against the candidates of their choice.
That is bribing. I don't actually move to them because I do personal job, pay myself as a salary. So I don't like anything bribery according to my religion. So I don't collect bribe for voting, especially for voting.
I will not vote for someone because he wants to give me money. It's immoral. We are the ones wanting a better Nigeria. So why will I do something that will give me the opposite of what I want? It's devilish. So there is no amount you will give to me that will make me to vote for someone who I know will not do well because of a meager, an amount that could buy me nothing.
No. The worst part is this, that I will not sell my vote if they give me money to vote for them. And I will not do such a thing. But the worst part of it is that, not that I hate Buhari or neither I hate Atiku.
That's what you can take from the streets of Abuja. I am Susan. It is a reporting from TV.